Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to the glorious YARAN's People's Revolutionary Party, who are absolutely definitely not communist, by the way. We've finally made it off that first shithole of an island, and, well, I think I'm just going to leave it up to Clara and Juan to explain what happens next, although if you've played any of the Far Cry games up until now, you can probably make an educated guess.
Once you're back at Santuario, shake the trees for guns, ammo, new believers. Castillo was surprised. Let's keep it that way. Welcome to Libertad, Danny. I can leave any time. What's the rush? Inspiring. Let's free Yara, shall we? Castillo controls all of Yara with soldados, slaves, and blood. The capital is his stronghold. We take Esperanza, we free Yara. Best chance we got to weaken Castillo is to hit military targets like FND bases and checkpoints. But most important, we have to surround Esperanza and trap Castillo in his cage. That means targeted operations that will unite the revolution and make Libertad stronger. To do that, I need you to recruit 3 groups in Yara to fight with Libertad. Each is waging war across Yara with a different piece of Castillo's empire, all controlled by his inner circle. In El Este, foreign invaders like Mickey Industries suck our resources dry, and Admiral Benitez defends Castillo's poison lifeline. But the old legends of 67 can help us turn the tide. They're hiding in the jungles of the highest mountains of Yara. Their greatest guerrilla, El Tigre, is waiting with open arms to help you bring them on our side. Then we have Valle de Oro. Not just the engine of Castillo's Viviro operation, but also his propaganda machine, run by his Minister of Culture, Maria Marquesa. But I have some old friends who can run our counter-propaganda campaign, Maximas Matanzas. They were the voice of the protests and can mobilize Yara's dissidents to fight for Libertad. They've gone dark. Last seen at a fort in Balaceras. We need to find them before Castillo's forces do. In Madrugada, we have Castillo's nephew, Jose, a slave driver who forces outcasts to grow that poison Viviro tobacco. But the Montero family is waging war against Jose. They hate visitors, but I have intel on a mechanic who has a workshop in Costa del Mar. His name is Philip Barzaga, and he's their gatekeeper. If I were you, Danny, I'd start in Madrugada. We take back that tobacco with the Monteros' help, and we got Castillo's Viviro at the source. You just need to find this mechanic Philly. I'll be here actioning targeted Libertad strikes against Castillo throughout Yara.
Hang on. I'm gonna get all these groups to sign up for Libertad by myself?
Yep.
How?
Simple. You help. Any way you can.
You must be new around here, Danny. This is a Far Cry game. Here's how it works. You do everything. Clara takes the credit.
I send a squad to these groups, I'm an invader. I send a scout, then I'm not serious. With you, they get my best guerrilla without politics and bullshit. Just help.
Libertad takes the capital, we slit Anton's throat, maybe drink his blood, etc., etc. Then he needs a walk.
Viva Libertad, jefa.
Yeah.
I'm not Clara's best guerrilla, you are.
You're not listening.
Translate, Juan.
The accent. Clara hides it best she can, but she was born rich. From a family of true YARAN she left behind. She can shoot, bleed, drink with us all she wants. But she can't hide the stink of the upper class.
What's that have to do with me?
You are an orphan, Danny. Poor, from the dirt. When they see you, they don't see politics. They see they have no excuse.
She's using me.
See? And you're using her right back. Do you want to kill Anton? See. Do you want to free Yara? Sure you do. But here's what Clara can't say, but you and I both know. You want this. You're a guerrilla. And for a guerrilla, the shit my pants rush of an ambush, the smell of sulfur burning your nostrils, it's
fun.
Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me.
I have to admit, I do find it more than a little amusing that Clara thinks that her upper-class background is somehow going to undermine her communist credentials. No, seriously. I know that the traditional narrative would have you believe that communist revolutionaries are all lower class heroes rebelling against the capitalist pigs, but in reality, most communist revolutionaries came from very well off backgrounds. Che Guevara, the famous Argentine communist poster boy, he came from an upper class Argentine family. The communist terror groups of the 70s, the West German Red Army faction and the Baader-Meinhof gang and the Italian Red Brigades, they all came from upper middle class backgrounds. They were the sons and daughters of bankers, film directors, artists, historians. They were all rich dropout college students. They weren't rebelling against the man, they were rebelling against Daddy. If Clara somehow thinks that her rich upper class accent is going to somehow undermine her communist credentials, she clearly needs to read a book or two. Well, anyway. Before rushing off to do the story, as is so often the case when I'm playing these Far Cry games, I got a little bit distracted, and it's just as well that I did. Because this was a lot of fun. And it also answered one of the questions that I had in the previous video about how, if this Castillo fella has an army of 300,000 people on an island roughly twice the size of Manhattan, the entire island should be absolutely crawling with soldiers. I mean, I should be running into anything between 3,000 to 6,000 enemy soldiers in every square kilometre. Where the hell are they all? But it turns out they're all here. Seriously, I'm not joking. Also, I found a tank. And yes, you can drive it. I think it's supposed to be a T-55, but, well, take a look at the back. That's not like the back end of any T-55 I ever saw. The hatches on the top seem about right. But the bore evacuator is halfway down the barrel, and it should be at the end of the barrel. Plus, the lower glacis at the front looks more like a pattern. Although it does have the right number of road wheels, and they do have the right gap between the first and second road wheels, so I think this is more kind of like what Ubisoft think a T-55 should look like. But, well, I guess it's close enough. It looks mostly like a T-55. Whatever. It's not like I'm playing World of Tanks here. So, I've got a tank. I'm going to have to find some stuff to blow up on. The handling of the vehicle, let's face it, the handling of the vehicles in Ubisoft's games has never been fantastic. It was never great in any of the other Far Cry games. It was particularly terrible in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and it's just as bad in Far Cry 6. You can twitch the steering around like you wouldn't believe, but it's the turret traverse in particular that's absurd. It is so ridiculously fast. I mean, you're not seeing it here yet, but you will. But you can do a 360 no-scope with a turret of this T-55, it rotates that quickly. I mean, it will move as quickly as you can whip the mouse around. It's absurdly fast. But, it's not like playing World of Tanks here, is it? It's close enough. Anyway, let's take my little tank for a spin, because I was kind of curious, as I mentioned earlier, as to exactly where all of these hundreds of thousands of soldiers that President Castillo apparently has, where are they all? Because up until now, unless I was attacking a checkpoint or a radar station, and even when I was attacking a checkpoint or a radar station, they never seemed to be manned by more than 4 or 5 soldiers. But aside from that, the only time I ever saw any of Castillo's soldiers was on the rare occasion when I would drive past one of them as they were riding around on horseback on the various different country roads, and they were only ever solo. And then I arrived here in Madraguda, and on this road in particular, look at this. They're everywhere. This spot of the road. It's not exactly a roadblock, it's not exactly even a checkpoint. There are a couple of anti-tank obstacles, and that's really it. But there are bad guys everywhere. Why? There's nothing here. That thing that you just saw pop up, by the way, watch out. Castillo's special forces are hunting you. What happens here is if you take a look down at the minimap, in the bottom left corner of the screen, on the right side of the minimap there are 2 bars, and they're both red and they're both full. These bars fill up when you do naughty things, when you blow things up, when you shoot things. Castillo's special forces get dispatched to teach you the errors of your ways. A couple of things about that. First, I'm in a tank. Bring it. Second, where are they? Also, note that that red bar is draining, even though I am continuing to shoot things and blow stuff up. And when it gets down halfway, watch what happens. Yeah, Castillo's special forces have lost your trail. How? Just follow the explosions. How special are these special forces? They never turned up. Even though I was continuing to just lay waste to everything around me, the "you are being naughty" meter started draining. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Oh, there it goes again. Fight or run, Castillo's special forces are coming after you. Well, I remain unconvinced, let me just put it that way. I don't think I ever saw any of Castillo's special forces turn up. The whole time I was ripping up the countryside in my, might be a T-55. Not once. They kept threatening me with the special forces. Oh, hell yeah. They wouldn't stop threatening me with the special forces, but they never once showed up. It's not that I never saw any of Castillo's military. I saw plenty of Castillo's military, it's just none of them were special forces. There we go, there's the all clear. Now what can we do about that? Well, we can blow more stuff up, because this is the busiest road in Yara. There's a jeep every 30 seconds on this road. Oh no, the special forces are going to get me. Whatever shall I do? Well, yeah, but Jingles, you are in a tank. Well, yeah, that's true. So bring it, bitches. But here's the thing, even if I wasn't in a tank, because later on, obviously, I get a bit naughty and the special forces do eventually turn up and I'm not in a tank. And you'll know them when you see them, because they do look substantially different. They're wearing body armour, they've got proper full face helmets, they've got all kinds of good stuff. They don't look like the ordinary soldiers, but here's the thing. They die just as easily as the ordinary soldiers. Single armour piercing bullet to the face and they drop like anybody else. In fact, it's... oh, actually, that's one of them there. It's easier to kill them when you're not in a tank. Ridiculous though that may sound. And I'll tell you why, but first we'll finish this guy off. He's armed with an RPG, look. I don't know how good his training was. Apparently he doesn't realise that an RPG does not have to be launched from a range of 5 metres. So... but anyway. Yeah. It's actually easier to deal with Castillo's special forces when you're not in a tank. Because they die, just like everybody else in this game, to a single armour-piercing shot to the face. Headshots with 7.62mm rifle armour-piercing ammunition puts them down in one hit, the same as everybody else. There is absolutely nothing special about them. So, yeah, kind of unimpressed. Having fun in the tank though. And if you're watching and thinking, you know what, that does look like fun, well, you're right, it is. But I would caution you against thinking that the easiest way to do any missions in Far Cry 6 is to simply steal a tank and run around doing them in a tank. Because in Far Cry 6, and you're not going to believe this, but I swear it is absolutely true, in Far Cry 6, the tanks cannot do the one thing that tanks were invented for. If you do steal a tank and take it off-road, you will soon be in possession of an X-tank. Because they cannot cross ditches. And I'm not talking dirty great big trenches here or anything. I'm not talking irrigation ditches. I'm not talking anti-tank trenches. No, just, well, watch. Much later on in the game, although still in the first province, I'm having some serious problems completing one mission in particular. I don't know if it's because it was bugged or because I'm just a bit thrown. Honestly, I think it was genuinely bugged, but anyway. Saving that for a future video. The important thing is, because I wasn't able to complete the mission the way I'm pretty sure the mission was supposed to be completed, and again, you'll see more in a future video, I thought, you know what, I'll just take a tank. What could possibly go wrong? Observe. That's right, bitches, we're going off-road. I am in a tank. Nothing can stop me, except for a 3 foot wide and 1 foot deep ditch. Yep. The machine that was designed to break the deadlock of World War I trench warfare gets stopped dead in its tracks in Far Cry 6 by the kind of obstacle that could be constructed in half an hour by a child with a beach bucket and spade. Yeah. Ubisoft. I don't think tanks work the way you think they do. Anyway, moving on swiftly, let's get back on with the plot. And remember, quick recap, I am here in this province to enlist the support of the family of rich landowners who had their land taken off them by Castillo's forces in order to grow the tobacco that's used for the Viviro anti-cancer drug. A family of rich landowners? Getting them on our side is Clara's plan. Because as we all know, kids, nothing stirs the common peasant up into a revolutionary fervour more than the promise that if he puts his life on the line, he'll be able to go back to work for his old plantation boss. Ubisoft. Like the tanks in your game, I don't think these revolutions work the way you think they do.
You Philly? I'm Danny.
No. No feely here.
Also, you're still not Borderlands.
Whoa, what's in your bag?
Know where I can find him?
Cerveza.
So who's in charge?
Everything got another purpose. Can you come here for a second? Can you just come here? Can you hold that down for me? That's a dead man switch. One move. So, why are you here?
I'm with Clara from Libertad. Didn't she say I was coming?
Those are big names to throw around.
Chorizo! Who's a good dog then?
But I don't see Clara. I only see you. So why are you here? Got family to save? Got kids?
No.
So what do you want out of this?
I want my finger off this switch. And I want to know who's going to help me take down Castillo.
Okay. You're safe now. So you're Clara's hero, huh?
I'm no hero.
Sonny, so it worked! It worked! Feeling magic, baby. Want us to help Libertad? You need Carlos Montero, our backbone. His family is gonna save our land.
Great. Take me to him.
No. Step one, Philly needs to love you. Step two, baby Montero needs to love you.
Baby Montero.
See that? Chorizo, come on, let's go back. La Espada, his daughter. You know, last time I heard, she went to hit that outcast plantation east of here. She likes you, you're in. A good luck finding her. La Espada, oh man, she's a fiera. Oh. Next time I see you, I want to play with that crazy backpack, deal?
No.
Well, then don't let the poison get you down.
Fucking comedian. Papa!
Now that was a good dog. And yes, you do get to have him as an amigo later, providing you play your cards right. Now, while you're running around and misbehaving, you'll occasionally come across rebels just wandering the roads with missions for you.
Hey, Danny, they put a Danny, marking an anti-aircraft cannon on your map. You know what to do.
I appreciate it.
And it happens reasonably regularly. Here we are in a completely different part of the island about 2 hours later.
See, you!
Que bola?
Can you talk to Elvis Carballo for me? He needs some help. I do it, but his, cologne is a bit much for me.
Thank you.
Hang on, didn't we just... No, I must be imagining things. Anyway, later that night...
Hey!
What do you know?
Danny, they put a fucking anti-aircraft cannon on my family's land. I'll mark it on your map.
Hey, thanks.
This game cost between $80 and $130 million to make. And not only did they reuse the same character model or every single one of the dozens of wandering rebel mission givers in the province of Madraguda. But they didn't even bother to do a palette swap on her clothing to make it at least look to the uninitiated that they were trying. Also, Ubisoft. I don't think petrol bombs work the way you seem to think they do. So anyway, we meet the Monteros, the family of colonial plantation landowners who've been forced off their tobacco plantations by Castillo. Because, you know, putting them back in charge of the tobacco plantations is going to make all the peasants rise up against the man. Or something. Not important. What is important is that once you've made contact with the Monteros, you get the chance to recruit the best character in the game, at least so far. But first, we just have to call Clara, check in, and report on our progress. Now, pay attention here, because the game really, really does not want you to miss any of this.
Clara, I made contact with the Monteros.
How did it go?
Well, Carlos wants nothing to do with me, but I get along with his daughter. I think she's my way in.
You need to understand them. Become one of them.
First step is understanding this camp. I'm going to have a look around.
Okay, Danny. Take care of yourself.
Now, I didn't think that conversation was very important the first time I heard it, but clearly I was just being stupid. More on that later. For now, who's a good doggy? Look at that little dog. We're going to get ourselves a little dog. So, recipe card. We're going to unlock Chorizo as a companion, or as the game calls them, an amigo. The first step is finding Chorizo's favourite food. By a stroke of luck, as it happens, I actually had all of that stuff on me. So I can just go ahead and put it in his little feeding bowl. Here you go, Chorizo. Who's a good boy? Yes, that's right. You're a good boy. Yes, you are. What a good dog. Do you want some foodies, Chorizo? Do you want some foodies?
Have to be honest, I don't speak bark, amigo.
Yes, we're going to give you some foodies. It puts the food in the bowl, or it gets the hose again.
Well, I have all this old meat. You want a snack? Yeah, you do. There. Never worked so hard for a dog's love. But you deserve it, Perito. Oh, this should be enough to make us amigos, right? Right?
He's a good boy. What follows now is a fetch quest, which I seem to remember playing before in World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade. At the Alliance base in the Hellfire Peninsula, there was a quest where you had to follow a dog around as it dug up stuff that it had buried, and that's basically exactly what you do here with little Chorizo. It's not a difficult mission, you just follow him around and pick up all the stuff that he's buried. And he has buried some good stuff. You can pick up quite a nice stash of valuable crafting materials in this one particular quest. And at the end of it all...
Does Philly know about all this? What am I saying? He probably helped you steal this shit. Gracias, Chorizo. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
I think so too. Because he's a very good dog, aren't you, Chorizo? Yes, you are. You're a good boy, yes. And that unlocks Chorizo as an amigo. Now, Huapo the Croc, all he does is rip people's legs off. Chorizo's special ability, and I'm not making this up, is being irresistibly cute. Something, to be fair, that he is exceptionally good at. Aren't you, Chorizo? Yes, you are. He's a good boy. You just basically send him after an enemy, and then he just sits there looking all cute and distracts them so you can sneak up behind them and introduce your machete to their backside. So that's Chorizo. That's not the only thing he does. All of the amigos have additional abilities. Every time you use the previous ability, it will unlock the next one. Eventually, he will go around digging up resources for you. Because he's a good dog. Yes, he is. Now, back to the conversation that I had with Clara over the phone earlier. Do you remember how I said that it didn't seem particularly important, but clearly I was just being stupid? Well, immediately after unlocking Chorizo, I headed out to chase down a supply cache. You can see it being dropped by parachute over there. I have my own parachute, even though Ubisoft seems to have very strange ideas about the way they think parachutes should work, but in this case it didn't work at all. So I plummeted to my death and respawned just a couple of 100 meters away, back in the Montero camp. But before I head back out into the wild blue yonder, I better just quickly give Clara a call. Keep her updated on my progress.
Clara, I made contact with the Monteros.
How did it go?
Well, Carlos wants nothing to do with me, but I get along with his daughter. I think she's my way in.
You need to understand them. Become one of them.
First step is understanding this camp.
We're gonna get him
I'm
back.
going to have a
Papi.
look around.
Don't sweat it.
Okay, Danny. Take care of yourself.
Oye, que volá, mamacita.
Didn't we just have that conversation? It must be me. Oh. I think I've met her sisters. Catholics. Big families. Well, anyway, after a long, busy and extremely exhausting day slaughtering fascists in the name of freedom, it's time to head back to camp, stock up, upgrade some weapons, check in and see how the bandit operations are coming along. First, though, I should probably check in with Clara. You know, keep her up to date, make sure she knows what's going on.
He doesn't show up.
Don't know where that motherfucker goes when it comes to how...
Clara,
Yep, this really happens.
I made contact with the Monteros.
How did it go?
Well,
Nothing's
Carlos
changed,
wants
Clara. This is at least the third time we've had this conversation.
nothing. I think she's my way in.
Is there something wrong with your brain? I didn't realise at first how important this conversation was. Because every single time you come back to the Montero camp, you have to have this conversation with Clara. And since the Montero camp is the base of all of your guerrilla operations during the first third of the game, you're going to be coming back to this camp a lot. So you're going to be having this conversation a lot. Clara must think I'm seriously into her. And honestly, I wouldn't blame her if she thought I was starting to get just a little bit clingy. Oh, Ubisoft. Anyway, I hope you're not getting the impression that I don't like this game. I mean, it's a bit shit. In many ways. But I am having fun playing it. Although that probably says more about me than it does about the game. Anyway, that's it for today. More fun and games in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed, or at least been amused by this one. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.